Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And today's video, we're going to be featuring a new hero, a new fun thing on the channel today. We're going to be talking about Riptide and the deck profile that I've been working on for Riptide here the past couple weeks, and just kind of get right into it and have some fun and hopefully get your feedback as a community for anyone else out there who's played Riptide on what you think of the deck, as well as any new players. Maybe this will give you a decent starting point from someone who's at least played a decent, fair amount of matches with it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Feel free to check out my other videos. I do a lot of ninja content here, a lot of assassin content, and a lot of ranger content as well. So if any of those classes interest you, definitely check it out, but also just cover the game in general. So definitely let me know what you'd like to see. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. I'm going to be shouting out like a couple videos now, just because I'm super excited about. We're close to 3K subs. I normally never give sub goals or sub whatever, but we're 2 months out from the end of the year, and if we have the same year that we same month in November and December as we did in September and October, then we'll hit 3K subs by the end of the year, which would be amazing. I'm gonna do a giveaway. I never do giveaways on the channel. It's really bad of me, but I'm gonna do it at the end of this year. Kind of give away like a really cool thing, and yeah, we'll get right into it. But Riptide. So since the Colony Dallas, I obviously was prepping prepping an okay amount with like Arachne and Katsu, and ended up taking Katsu. But even before the Colony Dallas, I was playing with Riptide and messing with him and having a lot of fun. And also, I've just been messing with new heroes in general. I'm not going to Worlds, right? I'm not going to like a major event actually until heavy hitters, quite literally, because I'm not doing PQ season this season. I don't really have a reason to. Just kind of having fun with a bunch of different decks. So I'm trying out new stuff that I enjoy and that I want to play. So I've been playing a lot of Riptide. I've got a lot of inspiration from some of the decks that have done well. Riptide, hasn't done insanely well. He's not viewed as like a high-tier hero, but there have been some blips here, right? We had a Road Nationals win back in May, and then there was the Calling Taipei. There was a Riptide that made day 2, which is a big deal for this hero. So I took like elements of those lists, kind of made it my own, kind of tweaked it a little bit, and just kind of went with something that I am enjoying. So this is the list. I'm not going to go card for card, but pretty close. I'll try to give you my reasonings for everything, and I'd love to hear your feedback as well. So in the equipment suite, for anyone that's not aware, Riptide says whenever you play a card from hand, you may put a card from hand face down into your arsenal. Whenever a trap you control triggers, which means you meet the requirements of the trap, you deal 1 damage to attacking heroes. So this first ability allows Riptide to have really strong 2-card hands, right? Being able to play like Laced with Blood Rot into Endless Arrow without actually loading the arrow, having to like spend a resource, because when you play Laced with Blood Rot, you're playing a card from hand, which allows you to then put Endless Arrow in your arsenal and then fire it for 7 with an on hit, with technically 2 on hits, right? Really good 2-card hand. 2-card 7 with 2 on hits without having to use a resource. Really, really good. It's on par with like Enlightened Strike, right? But with on hits, and super, super nice. You also can do, little things like just any buff into an arsenal-based attack. And Riptide has buffs that they don't just work on arrows, they work on anything from arsenal. So like Premeditate says, next time an attack action card hits a hero's turn, create a ponder token, and the next attack action card you play from arsenal this turn gets +3. Scout the Periphery will buff anything, any attack action card, which is really nice. And then even cards like Take Aim, not any attack action card, but it'll buff any assassin attack action card. So, ranger attack action card. This artwork always reminds me of assassin. Anyway, so you're able to play really efficient 2-card hands, even 3-card hands, and be able to do a lot of different things. His traps are also really good. Obviously, we have some of the staples like Frailty Trap and Tar Pit Trap, which we'll get to talking about those, but I also run like Tripwire Trap and Pitfall Trap. And the reason I run these, even though these require to be played from arsenal, is because Riptide says whenever you play a card from hand, you may put a card face down in your arsenal, that means that if I play a Frailty Trap from hand and I have a Pitfall Trap or Tripwire Trap in hand as well, I can then, even on defense, put them down arsenal and then be able to play them. So it makes them hyper efficient. But when it comes to the equipment, the headpiece was my first decision point, right? Do you run New Horizon or do you run Crown of Providence? That's typically the 2 different builds. I prefer Crown of Providence. I like to get things out of my arsenal if I need to. I like to be able to cycle if I have a offhand. And honestly, I sold my New Horizon a while back, and I just haven't bothered to buy a new one. But even if I did have it, I think I'd still go the Crown of Province route. I enjoy that more defensive style, being able to outvalue your opponent and then hit them on like a good go wide turn, and Crown of Province helps facilitate that. The arm piece will go from chest to down, right? The chest piece is Trench of Sunken Treasure. This card has so many cool interactions that I'm still learning. Like, for example, being able to put... you'll have hands like, let's just say a random one. This isn't amazing, but this gives you an idea. Because of Riptide's ability, it says when you play a card from hand, you can put a card down arsenal. The ability to play 2-card Codex turns with a 1 power cost arrow is really nice, because let's say you have Codex and anything. Let's say you have a Rabble in Codex. You're able to play Codex. Normally what Codex would do is you put a card in your arsenal and then you discard a card. But because of Riptide's ability, when you play Codex, you're able to trigger Riptide's ability, put Rabble in your arsenal, then use Trench of Sunken Treasure to sink it, gaining a resource, and then go get a 1-cost arrow like Infecting Shot and then be able to play it out. So there's some really cool things you can do with Trench. Obviously, anybody that has arsenal hate, you can just say, I don't care, and, sink away your arsenal. But it has a lot of cool things. And then another thing you can do that's really nice in this is if the opponent doesn't pressure you enough and lets you keep an arsenal, and you don't really want to play that arsenal out, like sometimes you don't arsenal the best target, right? Like sometimes I may arsenal a trap. And let's say I don't need to use it or don't use it that turn, I can Trench of Sunken Treasure it on my turn. And if I'm running Death Dealer, I basically get a free Death Dealer activation, right? Because I don't have to use a card from hand in order to do it. So it has a lot of cool interactions. And then the legs, I rarely need Snapdragon Scalers. We have so much Go again in the deck and so much natural synergy. I'd rather just have the block value and be able to preserve a little bit of my life. Riptide does start at 38 life, so being able to have a little bit more agency in your blocking is really, really nice. So that's where I have on the main board. We also have Quiver of Abysmal Depths. That's kind of like the standard Riptide. And then in the sideboard for arms, we have Norrune Gloves, because I want AB2, because I think we're going to have a little bit more Icelander in the meta upcoming. So I'm trying to build this competitively to a certain extent so I could maybe take it somewhere if it got better and better, and so on and so forth. When it comes to the bows, we have 2 bows. Death Dealer is our main bow. That's what we're trying to use, because I want to be able to arsenal traps and arsenal things, to be able to use my Trench ability successfully and be able to, have a lot of value there. But a lot of decks do run good D-Reacts. We have Bravo, right? You have Assassin. Even Dromai now has a good amount of D-Reacts. And sometimes you might have to use that Dreadboard to get around those, right? A lot of people will bring traps or bring D-Reacts into you to try to fatigue you out sometimes. So having this Dreadboard on the side is helpful. Also, it's really still good value, because when you load a Bolt and Shot, it immediately gets Go again, because it gets +1 from Dreadboard's ability, which then forces a little bit more interaction from your opponent. So that's the equipment. For arrows, just to make sure I'm correct, we have 3, 6, 9, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 28 arrows, plus 3 codexes. I wanted to have a heavy arrow list. I treat this list similar a little bit to how I did like Death Dealer Alexi, or even a Shiver Lexi, where you wanted to have a lot of arrows. You never want to draw a dead hand on this list, especially if you're trying to go wide and aggro and really apply a lot of pressure. So I wanted to have a lot of arrows. But running Rainbow Bolt and Shots, they're just too good, right? Being able to have a turn, there's turns where I will have, let's just say, Bolt and Shot, Searing Shot, and 2 pumps, right? And let's say our pump is like Lace with Frailty and Lace with Blood Rot. We can play Lace with Frailty, load the Bolt and Shot from Riptide's ability, play it for 7, Go again. If our opponent doesn't respect it, we just load anyway, and then fire again for another 7. If they do try to block it out and prevent everything, then we can either play Lace or Blood Rot into Searing Shot for another 7, right? Like, you're able to do all of that without loading your bows. And Bolt and Shot facilitates a lot of that. It has a lot of synergy with pumps and other 0-cost arrows. If you notice, we don't have a lot of 1-cost arrows in this deck. Most of them are trying to be 0. Out of the 28 arrows we have, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them are 1-cost, and even that's a little high for me. I wanted to have around 5, but I need a little bit more utility in this meta. Sikkim Shot's kind of the flex slot. We'll talk about that when we get there. But Bolt and Shot just facilitates a lot of good go wide turns. Dromai is near auto loss, but it makes the Dromai matchup like maybe somewhat playable, because you can at least go wide and clear dragons. So so on and so forth. Then we have Death Touch, amazing synergy with this, being able to play this from Arsenal and pump it with stuff like Premeditate, pump it with Scout the Periphery, pump it with Take Aim. All of our pumps, with the exception of Lace Feral and Lace Blood Rot, so 9 out of 15 of our pumps are able to buff this. Really, really nice. So it's a really good Codex target. Endless Arrow we have in here because it's a 0 cost arrow that has on hit of saying, hey, I get to recur another threat back in my hand. And also, it's good for the Dromai matchup, being able to clear dragons without expending cards from your deck. Enlightened Strike's just good value. Falcon Wing, one of our favorite Arsenal targets to start our turn with, right? Being able to Arsenal this at the end of your turn, and then your next turn, playing like a pump into Falcon Wing for 6, and you still have 3 cards in hand, and they don't know what you have, and then load your bow and attack again. Really, really good. Other 0 cost arrows, I guess we'll do this by this, is I decided to put Searing Shot in here because I think it's just the most impactful. If people don't respect it, it can deal a lot of damage, especially late game when people are low. Like, one of the keys to Riptide, at least from my play so far, is being able to get your opponent low enough to where they could just die from traps, right? Like, against a Riptide, you don't want to be at like 5-6 life because you can just die from traps depending on what hero you're playing. For example, I was playing a Bolton today on Talishar. I was losing like 7 life to 2. I literally killed him with traps before he could kill me. I was able to play 2 Pitfall traps. He got dealt 3 damage both times because at the end of his turn. And then I was able to kill him all, and then he gained life a little bit from a Sigil or something. I forgot where he gained life from. I think he actually gained life from Luna. I'm dumb. And then I was able to hit him with a Spike Pick trap, and I was able to discard a Beaming Bravado from the top of his deck, and he had like 4 of those in his grave. So he just died. So yeah, Riptide's a little scary when you get low. So being able to, just force that low health total as quickly as possible is really good. So Searing Shot helps with that. I might make one of these a Drill Shot, but the fact that you can't dominate that Drill Shot like you can with Azalea, it's not quite as impactful. So I just went with sheer damage. And then our R0 cost arrow is obviously Intoxicating Shot. I beat a Bravo with this the other day, which was the most amazing thing ever. Literally put the Bravo to 1. Maybe the Bravo shouldn't have gone to 1, but they did against me. Let the Intoxicating Shot hit, and then it gave them a Quicken token. And then I was able to use it was either it was a Tar Pit Trap, I think. Tar Pit Trap on their attack and just kill them. It was really funny. So yeah, that's my 0 cost. My 1 cost arrows are a little bit more utility based. I have Infecting Shot, just a really good 1 for 5 that has an on hit. With Dreadboard, it's a 1 for 6, which is even better. Technically a 2 for 6, right? Other 1 cost, Remorseless, really good in the aggro matchups. Really good because it says defense reactions can't be played from Arsenal on Remorseless Chain Link if it's face up. So if you load this with Dreadbore, they literally can't play a defense reaction, period. Because they can't play it from Arsenal because of Remorseless. They can't play it from hand because of Dreadbore, right? So really, really good synergy there. Other 1 cost, this is the flex one. I like Sick'em Shot because Sick'em Shot to me is almost like another Bolton Shot. Especially when I'm on Death Dealer. I love being able to load this, no pump, and just fire it for 5 with 2 cards still in hand. They don't know what those cards are, and it's 4 go again. And then, let's say they don't block it, and then I play like Lace of Blood Rot into Searing Shot for 7 because I am able to load off a Riptide. It's basically, it gives you the opportunity to play something from hand to then bypass your bow that's already been used and be able to do something else. And I'm really enjoying that. So we'll see how it goes long term. Then Sleep Dart I have in here mainly for Dromai. Dromai and Bravo both. Trying to prevent Dromai from giving her Dragon's Go again and trying to prevent Bravo from doing something. What I really like about Sleep Dart is it's just really painful for the opponent. Like pitching a blue, loading a Bolton Shot, and then drawing into another pump and already had a pump in hand. So pitching a blue, I have 4-card hand, which is like blue, Bolton Shot, Sleep Dart, and pump, right? Being able to pitch low Bolton Shot, pump it, fire it for 7, and then I drew into another pump, and then you play Sleep Dart for like 7 because you can load it after playing the pump is really, really nice. Been really enjoying that. And so that's all my 1 costs. When it comes to pumps, we have not a ton, 3, 6, 9, 12 pumps in the deck. Yeah, 12 pumps in the deck. I think I think I'm missing something. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 pumps in the deck. So our most flexible pumps are Premeditate and Scout the Periphery, because they say any attack action card from Arsenal gets pumped. These can pump Command and Conquers. These can pump Rabbles. These can pump Enlightened Strikes. They can pump Death Touches, and they can pump your arrows, right? Really, really good. Our next tier of flexibility is Take Aim. I really like Take Aim. The reload mechanic doesn't really matter for us because we already have a reload mechanic with Riptide, but it allows us to pump all of our arrows as well as pump our Death Touch. Super, super nice. And then we have Lace with Blood Rot and Lace with Frailty, which obviously is really good for your arrows. Pretty simple there. So that's that. And then generic attacks. Technically, Death Touch is generic attack. Really good Codex target. Really good to load off of a pump. The fact that it only can be played from hand doesn't matter as much in Riptide. We have Enlightened Strike, which is really good. Just really, flexible slot. It's a little bit weirder without snaps, but it's still good. And then we have Ravenous Rabble as another attack. So that's what we got. And then Codex Frailty, Power Card, easy. And then Traps. So we have a total of 6 traps in the main board, and then we side in traps. So first one is Pitfall Trap. I originally wasn't on this, and I saw I think it was the Calling Tide Payless ran 3 of these. And since I've been on this more and more, I love this card. This card, if you sequence this card correctly, it is an automatic deal 3 damage most times, or it's a really disruptive card for your opponent. I've had times against like a 5 where I had this in Arsenal, and they had 1 card in hand right before like their last attack, and I would play this and say, hey, if you don't pitch that last card, I'm going to deal 3 damage to you on your own turn, because it's going to deal 2 damage from its own effect if they don't pay into it, and then 1 because it triggered because of Riptide. Really, really good card, and it only can be played from Arsenal, which is a downside. It can be a little wonky at times, but the fact that you can play another defense reaction or anything like that from hand and then put this in Arsenal and to be able to play it helps you get around that. I've actually been thinking about going to sigils maybe. We'll have to see, trying to fit sigils in here because that would count, or being able to fit like Sync Belows and stuff just generically to help put this in Arsenal quicker. But regardless, it hasn't been too wonky for me, and when it works, it works. Like I said, this card, literally playing this twice, was the reason I beat Bolton today, so really good on that. Then we have the 3 Majestic Traps. These are all really good. Buzzsaw Trap basically says, fuck you to pummel. Pardon my language, it just does. Really, really good. Collapsing Trap, amazing against aggro, absolutely debilitating when you play it correctly. And Spike Pick Trap, I won off of this today with late game. This card is nuts, right? I know as a Katsu, like if I play a Whelming Gust Wave against you and you do this or whatever card, doesn't matter what I play, and I banish a card that I've been playing a lot that game, it's really, really good, right? It's like in a Dromai, or into anybody, like think about Dromai, if you banish a dragon off the top and they've already played 2 of them, then that's a couple life spent. It's really good into decks that like to play like 6 and 9 of something into Azalea. If you banish a Bolton shot off, I keep saying banish. If you discard a Bolton shot, then that's probably gonna be a significant amount of damage. This can like close the game out from like 4 to 5 life, 3 to 4 life, depending on what you discard. So really good there. And then the sideboard, we have Command and Conquer. There's a lot of people that have Arsenal hate. It's for Dromai. It's Command and Conquer. Really good card. And then we have 9 traps in the side. So for the aggro matchups, we're running these Frailty Trap and Tarbit Trap. Most everybody that has Action Point Economy, it's really good for that. And then Tripwire Trap for Bravo and for Azalea, and even for some other decks specific that are like a little bit more higher as far as like damage. Like Reinhardt is really good into, because you can put it in Arsenal and then do stuff too. Anybody that's like hitting you for a lot. This could be Sync Below. I'm still messing with it, but I do like this in the Bravo, because if I can put this in Arsenal, I basically tell you your crush effect doesn't matter, because Bravo typically, from my experience, uses their resources very effectively. They normally don't have much left over, especially on turns where they Bravo ability. So, if they Bravo a Crippling Crush and then you just play this Crippling Crush and they don't have a resource to pay it, the crush effect just says, I don't care. So I really enjoyed that card. This is the list so far. Doing really pretty well. I mean, as well as you can do with Riptide, right? Obviously, a deck's power level is not where others are. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you'll do amazing with this, but there have been some players that have gotten some lucky and good runs and done really well with it. So definitely check it out. Give it a shot. Be patient with the deck. You are not going to win with this deck right away. This deck is so difficult. It already has slightly lower power level, and you're not going to win with it right away. So don't get discouraged. And if you don't like a certain thing I have, I know Sick 'em Shot's kind of a new thing. Pitfall Trap, some people run it, some people don't. Little stuff like that, right? Bolt and Shot and Endless Arrow, sometimes those ratios are different. So definitely try out more things. The Calling Tide playlist, I think, ran a 9 of Infecting Shot, and it ran Dreadbore only, no Death Dealer. So, and that one went to day 2, and then we've had Road National ones that were a complete Death Dealer list with New Horizon, whatever the case may be. So definitely try it out. Let me know what your feedback is. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to our Flesh and Blood creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game, get some more positivity in the community, man. Too many people are complaining. It's getting to me. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.